Well, Kenny, here we are again.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Yes, sir.
Yeah. You know, I really enjoyed the short time that we used yesterday doing that little snippet on Channel 8 here.
Yeah.
Really appreciative that they took notice of us and took the time to share.
Chris Mathis and Ryan Rutrell was
Mhm.
great. Like you said, it was a little short time, but all news is good news.
Absolutely. Now you know you're being inducted in June. How's that going?
Everything is going great. Speaking and communicating with Ed Brophy, the director,
Right.
as well as his staff, Grace, Jeff, Zach, Mike. The Brophies are just wonderful people. Everything has gone well.
Mm-hmm.
The juices continue to bubble day by day, and it will continue in the month of May as we lead up to that weekend.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to coming there and sharing it with you.
I thank you for coming.
It's if you know anything about boxing or you love boxing, it's somewhere you need to really go once in your life because it's a marvelous place with so many wonderful memories.
Yes, the very first time I went was back in 2009, and when I went, I just went because I had found out that Mr. Honda, which is a promoter in Japan, was being inducted, and he treated me and my wife so well when I had a fight assignment over there. I just wanted to support him, and that was the first time I went. Now, prior to that, Toby Gibson, one of our referees, had kept mentioning to me, go to the International Boxing Hall of Fame. I believe he was probably the first in Nevada to attend back then.
Wow.
So we went and fell in love with the place.
Yeah. Well, I know when I went, my first trip was, they were inducting Joe Cortez.
Yes.
A referee here out in Nevada, and it was a wonderful experience. Just that little town just comes alive, for that weekend, and it's just a wonderful location, a wonderful experience. And like I said, anybody that's involved in boxing, you got to go there at least one time.
You got to go there at least one time, and I would be withdrawn to. If you go, if the following year those dates are available to you, you would probably go again because, like you said, it brings ex-fighters, it brings ex-inductees, it brings people from all over the world.
Yeah.
Are assembled in that little town called Canastota.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, when I was there back in 2009, there has been a little bit of a shift. The Turning Stone is the main host hub now.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was not the Turning Stone, but the Turning Stone is a big part of the weekend festivities. The Banquet of Champions banquet is there. The induction speeches are there, and it's just a great and wonderful time.
It's a wonderful time, and a wonderful person's going in.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Recently, there was a fight in Europe that has long been anticipated because it featured the sons of two gentlemen who fought in what is probably more in the book, West known fights in Europe. Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. Well, now the sons of those guys, both Benn and Eubank Jr., they're going to be, well, they did fight over the course of the weekend, and whew, what a fight.
Not only was it a fight, I remember watching the daddies fight years ago when they did, and what a war it was. So how is it that all these years pass and their sons compete against each other the same way the daddies did?
Yeah.
And I was just overly impressed that this fight built up to the hype that it should have, the hype that presented itself, because neither fighter had to find each other.
Yeah.
They were both in the middle of the ring, going at it, toe to toe, little movement here, little movement there, but they left it all in the ring when it was all said and done.
They did.
I thought that Eubanks, just from watching it on television, appeared to be a little bigger in size. But Ben, it made no difference because they didn't hold back anything. They both went in there, they fought. Like I said, at times they were duking it out toe to toe, throwing bombs. Fortunately, it worked out for Eubank on all three scorecards.
Yeah. Well, you know, Kenny, most of the time, fights between the sons of former champions rarely comes up to the level that their fathers did.
Right.
But this fight not only lived up to the fight that their fathers had. I think it may have even surpassed it. This fight will become a classic in Europe, because these gentlemen, they, like you said, they lived up to the hype.
Yes.
That this fight had generated. And sometimes, you get all of that and it doesn't live up to it. This fight lived up to the hype.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, man, there was no giving and no quarter.
No.
I mean, they put it all on the line. They fought like they genuinely did not like each other, which prior to the fight, that was pretty evident.
Yeah.
That they genuinely did not like each other. And it came out in the fight.
It came out in the fight.
One of the things that really impressed me was when it was all said and done, which is another thing which is so marvelous about this beautiful game of ours. When it was all said and done, when the fight was over, they graciously said it was he was a better fight on this night, and it was a great. They were gracious losers, But loser in this instance, man, I just don't see anyone losing in this fight. I think the fight lived up to the hype. I think the fighters came and they produced. I think the British public, whatever they paid for the ticket, it was worth it.
They got their money's
They
worth.
got their money's worth.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Man. And it's rare nowadays that you get that.
Yes.
But this fight is going to be a classic, not only in Europe, but in boxing annals. This fight will be a classic.
Well, the question that remains now, because the scores was 116, 112 by all three judges. That all three judges came up with the same score. They may have gotten there differently, but all three came up with the same score. It was a unanimous decision for Eubanks. And the next question is, will there be a rematch? I don't know if there's been any talk about it, but like you mentioned about the price of tickets, who would care about the price of tickets when you know you're going to get a show like that?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, but something tells me that if you've got these names involved, you got a Benn involved and a Eubank involved, it's going to sell.
It's going to be, yes.
Because, like I said, there was genuine dislike, but after it was all said and done, there was genuine respect. And so I can see it happening down the line. I don't know what the contracts involved. I don't know if there was a rematch clause in there. Normally it is in a fight of that magnitude. And then the question would be, would the fighters want to do that again? I know that the public would want to see it again.
Yes.
But we'll see.
Good question. I personally would like to see them take a little break. Personally.
Well, I'm sure of that, because it was that fight was a physical, tough fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now there was another tough fight which took place again in London between this Chris Billam Smith versus Brandon Gelton. Brandon Gelton. And again, tough, rugged, hard. I'll let you expound on that a little bit.
Well, I know that Smith is a former champion. He was a former WBO champion. The dynamics of this particular fight, Smith is tall. He's a tall guy, 6'3", 6'4", something like that.
Yeah, 6'3".
Glendon,
shorter,
5'11".
Yep.
And so for me, anytime you have that dynamic in a fight, the question is, will the tall guy fight tall?
Right.
Okay, because if you don't, you're giving some of your best stuff away. Well, this was a competitive bout.
Yes.
From what I looked at, it was really, really a competitive bout. A lot of hard, clean shots by both men. And Smith, to his credit, did his best to fight tall.
Yes.
For the bulk of the fight. And Glendon did his part, because from the entire fight, he was struggling and fighting to get inside, because that was his best chance to get inside and do some damage. And he did.
Yeah.
He reminded me in his style like a mini Joe Frazier, coming in there fighting. But hoping to really wear Smith down with the body shots. And it was a competitive fight. It was a competitive fight.
It was a very competitive fight. Their records were even competitive. Both of them were 20 with 2 losses. So somebody was going to improve better than the other, with both of them going in at 20-2.
Yeah.
But the toe-to-toe, face-to-face times when they met in the middle of the ring was just unparalleled. I mean, they just throwing hard punches. There were times one would be on the ropes, and then there would be times when the other would be on the ropes. But all in all, you got your money's worth.
Yeah.
Just like
Ben and
Eubanks,
Eubanks, right?
Eubanks.
Yeah.
Right, you got your money's worth because they left it all in the ring.
Yeah.
And for a fan, that's what they want to see.
Yeah. And that's what they ought to see.
And that's what they ought to see. Yes, yes. There were a few times during the course of the fight when their heads got a little close, because that happens when two fighters are meeting in the middle.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll lean forward and their heads will touch. No damage done. So you just let the fighters do what they trained to do.
Yeah.
And the rest will
see what strategy is going to come out victorious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Smith, Smith, I think the added incentive for Smith was that he had won the title. I think he lost the title in his first fight. It was a tough fight that he fought, but he lost. But if he did well in this fight, the logic was that he would get an opportunity to become a two-time champion, which was his goal.
Yeah.
In this fight, and he certainly didn't hurt himself.
Well, they in London, they're getting some good quality stuff when it comes to fighters climbing in that ring.
Yeah.
I don't know who's promoting their fights over there, but whoever's doing the matchmaking is doing a good job.
Doing a hell of a job, let me tell you.
Now, this kid, Aaron McKenna, from Ireland, fought Liam Smith. Now, again, here we go. When you look at the history, McKinnon is 25 years of age and Smith was 36. McKinnon is 6'1" in height, whereas Smith was just 5'9". I thought that there was a distinct advantage for McKinnon in the height range. Their weights were close. 159 for McKinnon, 160 for Smith. McKinnon's record was 19-0. Smith was the journeyman, 33-4-1. And this McKinnon, to me, Byrd, is going to make some noise. The fight did not last long. McKinnon stopped Smith in the second round, caught him with a left hook to the body, and that left hook to the body pretty much said it all. Because once Smith went down, you could see that he struggled from that point on.
Yeah.
I mean, the fight did go on to the 12th round, but
tone had been set.
Yeah, the tone had been set.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, the thing that stood out to me was that the McKenna, Smith, he was down, and I think it was the 12th round.
12th round.
Yeah.
Check me on that. It was the 12th round.
In the 12th round. And but heart, attitude, want to, all of those things were present in this fight.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of it. I got just some of the highlights, but just from the highlights that I saw, I agree with you. I think this guy that McKenna is going to be one of those long, tall, gifted fighters in the vein of a Tommy Hearns.
Of a Tommy Hearns.
6'1", lean, built,
lean,
good. His build and actually his fighting style sort of reminded me just from what I could see of how Tommy Hearns utilize his height and range and skill to control fights.
Very good jab he has. He's quick. He has good movement. He hits with not a real whole lot of power, but he hits with an effective power that will, make a fighter think about what he's going to do before he just decides to come in, because they're going to have to come in order to get to him because of his height and his reach.
Yeah.
So McKenna can make some noise in the future.
So I tell you, I'm impressed with, like you said, whoever's doing the matchmaking over there in Europe. They're putting on some quality, competitive, want to see fights. Man, and that's what this game needs. My God, because we've had some stinkers. We've had a few stinkers, and that's just it's bad. But when you can see fights of this magnitude and this quality, the question is, well, why can't more fights be of this quality?
Yes.
Why do we have these seeming mismatches? When you have the fighters out there who are willing and looks like able to put these fights out.
Yes.
And I tell you, I was at a fight a couple weeks ago, and was at the Fountain Blue here in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a young kid named Bryan Norman Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, this kid, he's something. I mean, he came in and he wanted to take care of business, which he did. He took care of business. He is currently the WBO champ, and they're trying to set up a title defense in Japan against a kid by the name of Jin Sasaki.
Yes.
And I watched film of both of them. And Kenny, I got to tell you, this is the fight I want to see.
Right.
Because both of these guys are, there's something. Norman was coming off of like a 10-month layoff, so a little rusty, you would think, but you certainly couldn't see that in the fight that he put on. Now, I mean, he just literally beat the motivation out of this kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit him, and he dropped him, and the kid got up, and the referee was asking him, are you okay? Do you want to go on? And he didn't even acknowledge the referee. He just kept walking. You could tell he didn't want no more parts of this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, he was very methodical in breaking down this guy.
Yes.
I mean, hard jab, hard punches, up and down, Now, the kid that he is supposed to fight, this Sasaki kid, is just looking at the film, he's cocky. He's a really cocky kid, but cocky in a very confident way. Okay, he's very confident about what he does, and entertaining because he walks around with his hands down, and he'll look and he'll stop and he'll pose, but when he does connect, he got a good jab, and he can and when he connects, he connects.
Yes.
The one thing that I saw that would make this fight real interesting is that Sasaki tends to loop a lot of punches, the powerful punches, and loops a lot of them. He has a very good jab, which if he uses it, is very effective. but he has a tendency to lose punches, and he got caught.
Yes,
You know,
he did.
coming in like that, and he got bam. I mean, he caught him and dropped him. Now he got up.
Yep.
He was okay, but the question in my mind, if you match these two guys, would Sasaki be able to do the things in a Norman fight that he did in that fight? And there's a real question in my mind.
Well, that's the real question, and that's what makes boxing what it is, because you can weigh it however way you want, but the question is, just because you did something in this fight don't mean that you're going to be that successful doing the same thing against this guy.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the video on Norman Jr., the two things came to my mind. He's got power and he's got skill. And you put them two together, I hate to see what happens to the other guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
Yeah.
what came to my mind when I saw him. And then on the other end, when I saw Sasaki, it's just like you said. First couple of rounds, I mean, one can say that he's got a good package. The first thing I noticed was his quickness, because he started out, he would feint a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes the opponent question what he's going to do when he's feinting, because you don't know if he's going to throw a punch or what. And he started out doing that first 2-3 rounds. And does he fight with confidence? Yes, he does fight with confidence.
Yeah.
He was, if it's playing to the crowd or shaking his shoulders, whatever it takes, he was confident, and he felt like, I can do this against this guy I'm fighting.
Yeah. Now that's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And when he went down,
Yeah.
which was in the second round, he kind of cleaned that up and said, it's time for me to go to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And shucks, the very next round, he knocked his opponent down.
Yeah.
And then from then on, he just took control, basically took control of the fight. So like you said, matching them two together, that's going to be a fight to see.
Yeah, it is. It is. And like you said, styles make fights.
Style make fights.
And I'm telling you, if they both fight the same way in the fight together,
yes,
it's going to be a fight worth seeing.
Yes.
Put it that way.
Yes,
it's going to be a fight that's worth seeing.
Exactly. Next on the horizon, July 12th, we have the question is, should Shakur Stevenson fight a tune-up fight prior to stepping in the ring with a match with Tank Davis down the road? And Byrd, you know that tune-up fights has been something that has always been done, especially when a fighter was moving up in weight. They wanted to test themselves first at that weight, as opposed to jumping to that weight and fighting for a world title or whatever.
Yeah.
And in this situation, on July 12th, the fighter that Shakur could possibly or is fighting is a kid by the name of William Pate. Now, I've watched William Pate.
As have I.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this William Pate, he brings it. He is not a fighter that you're going to have to look for in the ring. Now, I've refereed Shakur Stevenson a couple of times. He has skills beyond skills. But you know, as I do, as you try to make your mark in this sport, the competition is going to have to, you're going to have to step up to the competition. And So is it advisable for Shakur to fight a tune-up fight with William Zepeda, or there are a few other fighters that are on the list that he can fight, but we know he's fighting Zepeda on the 12th.
Yeah.
As opposed, is it advisable or not advisable that he should do it? I guess one could say, well, if he gets through this fight with Zepeda, then it was advisable for him to do it.
Well, yeah.
But if something happens out of the ordinary,
which
I know you're going to discuss, then maybe he should not have taken that fight.
Let me tell you something. This kid, Zepeda, fought a classic fight with a fellow by the name of Tevin Farmer.
Yes.
And that was a fight that not only would I say would have been a candidate for fight of the year, but there were a couple of rounds within that fight that could have been rounds of the year.
Yes.
And Zepeda, early on in that fight, was really controlling that fight. Now comes Tevin back. If Farmer had not elected to go on in the fight, a lot of people would have understood that based upon how the fight was going.
Yeah.
But that wasn't his mentality. His mentality was, I'm coming back to get you. And let me tell you, second half of that fight, whole different fight.
Right.
I mean, those guys were throwing. Now, Shakur, technically sound.
Right.
Sound technical fighter. Great defensive fighter. Question is, but is that going to be enough against someone who is coming and coming hard?
Yes.
Who's got nothing but damage on his mind. Solid damage on his mind, and he doesn't get tired. He doesn't get tired.
Right.
He can go at the speed that he chooses, all from 1 to 10 to 12 rounds.
Yes.
And the question is, if you are usually kind of in control of your fights, and you can bob and weave and duck, and technically you look, pretty good and got good defense. Can you hold him off?
Right.
Because if you can't, somebody has a problem.
Somebody has a problem, and the other couple of fighters that has been mentioned in regards to possible tune-up is this Abdullah Mason and Lamont Roach. And we know who Lamont Roach is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you something, Abdullah Mason, those are young guns, man.
Yes.
And they are young guns.
Yes.
I mean, these kids, every last one of them, they're tough.
They're tough.
They're tough. They are the new guard in this fight. And anybody that's sitting on top of the mountain looking down better take a real careful look because they're coming. They're coming. And if you ain't on your A game, then you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
And if you are sitting up thinking, I need to just handle this over here so I can get to this, your focus had better be on this, or you may not get to that.
Yeah, sometimes when we're rounding the bases, we have a tendency to ignore first base and think about second base, where you need to think about first base just as much as second base.
Yeah. Because
it's going to take to get past first base to get to second base.
And you better hit every base, because if you don't, what you thought was a home run is going to be an out.
It's going to be an out.
That's it. Yep. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
So no, Shakur's best option is focus on what's in front of me, handle that with my A game, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, we all talk about the men and how wonderful and hard they fight and everything, but something. There's another group of people out there that really fight just as hard and are as deserving as anyone in this game of boxing, called women.
Mm-hmm.
Women boxers. Now, the question is, what women are the best boxers today? But beyond that, what women, in your opinion, were the heaviest knockout punches in women's boxing?
Well, I'll tell you this.
Please do.
When women boxing and my involvement as far as being assigned to women boxing back in the day, it wasn't then on how hard they hit. It was just what skills did they possess to even get in the ring. Mm-hmm. And I say that because for the public, even for me, only refereeing men was new. And those women back then, and we've talked about her before, was Christy Martin. Christy Martin was the name back then for me as far as women boxing. Mm-hmm. Then Lucille Riker, then Layla Ali, mm-hmm. and the names started to follow after that. The thing for me when I used to do women boxing, because they were fighting only 2-minute rounds, is that when they came out, they brought it. Mm-hmm. And I liked refereeing women boxing because there was less holding. Mm-hmm. They come out to fight, and that could have been because of the 2 minutes, and they wasn't fighting 3 minutes, where it's a little longer. What strategy will I use? But Christy Martin was knocking women out back then. Mm-hmm. As she moved up in weight, as we all know, that lessened. Mm-hmm. But there were fighters that I did not do, and if in the past, that if I had to point a finger at in regards to was a heavy hitter, a knockout artist, was Ann Wolfe.
Okay. All right.
She was taking them out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, they got some footage on her that when she laid one out.
As a matter of fact, if you look at the greatest knockouts, one of those fights would be a fight that featured Ann Wolfe and a lady Vonda.
Yes.
Vonda.
Tall.
Ward, yeah.
Yes.
First round knockout, brutal. I mean, they still talk about that.
Yes.
And so I can't argue with you. Ann Wolfe she was a bad lady.
She was, yes.
Yeah. But for me, and I think for the entire gamut, it just wasn't a lot of women.
No. That's why it's hard to pick.
And women boxing. You had a lot of women. There wasn't a lot of camps out there where women could go and box. I mean, there were a lot of great athlete women, but they weren't trained as boxers. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, a lot of the early women boxers were better athletes or coming from other athletic endeavors into boxing.
Into boxing.
So yeah, but there were some heavy hitters now. There were some heavy hitters.
Yes.
Christy Martin, obviously.
Yes.
Lucia Riker. She had 17. Christy was knocking out almost anybody she fought. And whoo, man, Amanda Serrano, modern day, she's got something like 30 knockouts. So there's women out there with some power that are knocking people out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which brings me to the point. We've talked about Mount Rushmores of men. We've talked about Mount Rushmores of decades. So now the question is, who is on your Mount Rushmore of women?
For women. Well, I'll tell you this. Layla Ali, for me, goes on Mount Rushmore. She went her whole career undefeated. I would put the first lady of boxing, Christy Martin, because she was the one that started it out. Clarissa Shields, 2-time Olympic champion, still undefeated till this date, and maybe one would say wait till her career is over, but I don't have to wait. She has already made her mark in the sport. And my fourth,
No, wait a minute. We're talking Layla Ali.
Layla Ali.
Christy Martin. Clarissa Shields. And who else?
That's what I was getting to.
Okay.
That's what I was getting to. I was debating on who my fourth was. I was debating on who my fourth was.
Yeah, but you got to make a selection.
Then I would probably go with Ann Wolfe, the heavy hitter. Would be my fourth.
Okay. All right. Well, some of your people on that mountain I'll go along with. Certainly Christy Martin, because she is Christy Martin.
Yes.
She's got to be up there on that mountain.
She's got to be up on the mountain.
But the next lady that's got to be up there is the one that everybody would have wanted to see her fight, and that was Lucia Riker.
Yeah.
Lucia Riker was a terror in her time. Now.
Yeah, I just think that we didn't get to see enough of her. I mean, what we saw of her was fantastic.
Yeah.
But with her injuries, etc.
I go along with that, but the reason I keep her up on that mountain is because not only was she champion in boxing, you really realize that this woman was also a world champion kickboxer.
Yes.
World champion kickboxer.
Yes.
30 fights, 34, some almost like 34 fights with 30 knockouts in kickboxing. So that sort of itches her up for me.
I can go with Lucille.
Layla Ali, because she was undefeated, but more so, we're talking, when you do that, you got to put the people who made not only impact in the game, but for the game. And so Layla Ali was one of the first woman to be involved in a pay-per-view for women. She fought Jackie Frazier, Joe Frazier's daughter. So I have to factor that in.
Yeah.
And then obviously Clarissa Shields, I agree with you. And because Clarissa Shields has done something that I think only one other person has done, and that is she's undisputed. She is
Yes.
she is one of the undisputed champions. But she did something that was truly significant in a time frame that made it significant. She won 2 Olympic gold medals.
Yes.
And she won one of those in a year when there was no men
That
gold
won
medal.
yes.
That won a gold medal.
That won a gold medal.
The impact of the having done that has set her, for me, it definitely set her aside. Now, there are some notables that didn't quite make it up the mountain. Cecilia Breakers, okay? She didn't quite make it up there. Regina Halmick, which most people don't know, but she was a lady who really popularized women's boxing in Europe. Really made it, and you know that it was much more popular in Europe than it was may still be more popular women's boxing in Europe than it is in the United States. And the last one was the Playboy Playmate, who turned boxer, Mia St. John. But you know, she was a tough lady. She was cute. She was bad. She was a tough lady. Yeah.
Yes.
So that would be my Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
I got to give women all their props.
Duly noted. Duly noted. Yeah. And again, for me, Ann Wolfe is a Hall of Famer as well. So,
absolutely. And I believe she is. I believe she's one of the women that's been inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well she should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you for tuning in to the official call.
And to stay connected, subscribe to join our official squad below.